did we reach here? Where the view looks like the view I used to see. But somehow everything has changed. Everything is gone, yet remains. I went to the shops and the prices going up faster than I paid. Yet we're doing the checkouts like we've been demoted to slave. Somehow everything's changed. Everything's gone, yet remains. How did we get here? How did we go so wrong? We're paying so weak when we were so strong. 'Cause I remember when you were here with me. We didn't know the answer, 'cause we was young and free. And our eyes were brighter, and our laughter longer. And I just wanna go there. I just wanna go there. Somehow everything's changed. Everything's gone, yet remains.
Okay, we've got a special this morning with an old friend of ours. So good morning, Paul. And I don't know if it's morning.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
I just want to read out this gorgeous guy. So Dr. I'll just get this going. I've got a teleprompter here now. See if I can keep up with it. So Dr. Freed is a Harvard medical graduate from 1970 with a background in virology, the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, NIAID, and the faculty position at Harvard and UCLA. After decades in academic research and biotechnology, he returned to family medicine in underserved Imperial Valley, California. During the COVID-19 pandemic, he and Dr. Tyson treated thousands of patients using early outpatient multidrug protocols. They co-authored the book, Overcoming the COVID-19 Darkness, how two doctors successfully treated 7,000 patients. Dr. Freed testified before the US Senate in November 2020 on early ambulatory treatment. I hope I said that right. But the other thing I love about him, this man is so strong and yet he's so gentle. It's just a joy to have him on. Should we just bring him in?
It's true. It's over 10,000 now, isn't it, George?
I think we felt it may approach 20,000. And we still are using the same protocol when we get COVID patients or any RNA virus patients. It's broad spectrum, and it would have stopped the pandemic if it had been adopted widely, universally, which it should have been. It was just very disillusioning, and we still. It's still the best treatment. It's with repurposed medications and generic medications, but particularly and off-label, so FDA approved. And ones that, particularly hydroxychloroquine, that had been shown in publications by Barrick, probably the creator of COVID-19, the infamous Ralph Barrick. But in 2005, with working on the coronavirus outbreak then, and finding that hydroxychloroquine was a very effective treatment therapy for it. And so we pursued that with guided by Didier Raoult in France and by Vladimir Zelenko, our friend, inspiration in New York, and added in zinc, which hydroxychloroquine acted as an ionophore for, but having separate mechanisms, antiviral mechanisms, and then doxycycline, azithromycin, antibiotics that also have antiviral action, and vitamin D3 in fairly high dose. And generally, I still use the same protocol when patients come in with viral infections that are generally the RNA virus families, and and they do very well. But what I wanted to talk to you all about is, and get Paul your input on, is this extremely exciting and promising area of using repurposed medications for cancer. And I'm sure you're probably a proponent of it also, Paul, but
Yes.
it's I'm part of the Independent Medical Alliance. That's an organization that evolved out of the FLCCC, the Frontline COVID-19 Coalition, with Paul Merrick and Pierre Corey and others. And they have senior fellows now, and I was honored to be selected as a senior fellow with that organization, and they've done a great job on this in this area of repurposed medications for cancer. Paul in particular, Paul Merrick, and so they at their website imahealth.org org. They're in the Cancer Hub. One finds the guides for using recommended usages of the repurposed meds. And when I researched it 2 years ago, as we were exiting the pandemic, I realized that I should offer this to my patients who were. I'm in family medicine, I'm not an oncologist, but I know what's helpful in medicine in general, and I was so happy to be able to provide information to my patients with all sorts of cancers, and those that started the combination treatment, and I'll talk about that with you and take questions or your input, Paul, also. But when they started that regimen, and their regimen of these off-label agents, like particularly ivermectin, and the antiparasitics like mebendazole and fenbendazole, but also agents like metformin. And then at the beginning, and still do in the IMA regimen, there are other prescribed agents that approved for certain indications, but they have anti-cancer mechanisms, doxycycline and atorvastatin, rosuvastatin, statin medicines. I'm not a big fan of statin medicines in general for long-term use, but these agents have mechanisms that are defined in terms of how they block stem cells of cancer and how they block cell multiplication, or turn on suppressor genes for cancer suppression. So that's really what I've gotten. The most exciting area of medicine in my career is in this area now, because I've seen patients with advanced pancreatic cancer that I start on the regimen. Their general oncologist would not be a proponent of it and certainly wouldn't initiate it, but they get started and they then go into a conventional treatment regimen. But as they start this regimen, within weeks to months, they've had extensive cancer regression, pancreatic and bladder, and all the types, lymphoma, hematological cancers, and renal cell. And so it's something that can be added in late in the condition, a stage 4 cancer, or but before chemo or radiotherapy, or even after they've starting to fail that type of approach. So
Yes, it can make them more chemosensitive and radiosensitive. So
that's correct.
Far from being an alternative, it can be a useful adjunct if only the oncologist realized that this isn't this or this, but
I think it's going to take time for that to be realized, but you're absolutely right. And there's no side effect from these agents for the most part. It depends on the individual, but I found that they're very well tolerated and they're not expensive. Many. And what I want to do is talk about a study that has been published by.
Before we get there, Doctor, can I just, as the only non-doctor here, but like when there's a war, suddenly we hear of places we've never heard of before, like the Falkland Islands. We never heard of the Falkland Islands until there's a war there. Now, here we're hearing about cancer and mechanisms and all this stuff. For those who aren't doctors, it's like learning a new language. But what I know of cancer is that a cancer is a cell that doesn't want to die. Cells die millions every second. This cell doesn't want to die, and then it basically starts growing and starts making its own little ecosystem inside the body to survive. But in our body, we have certain mechanisms, natural ones, that go around and constantly kill them, just knock them out. But since COVID, something's happened, and these mechanisms that naturally knock cancer out aren't working. And we're seeing a rise of turbo cancers around the world where people are presenting to doctors like yourselves with cancer everywhere. I have a great friend who's full of it now. Is that correct?
It's generally correct what you said. It's a lot of this is attributed to this gene therapy vaccine, the COVID-19 vaccines, weakening the immune surveillance mechanisms of the body, and not doing any good, as we all know, for protection against COVID-19 or saving lives. But it's to some extent related to what happened during the pandemic, and the turbo cancers we feel have come up by as a consequence of problems created by the vaccines more so than by the infection itself. Okay. So and it's important that these patients particularly learn about the repurposed medications for their use and their ability to complement other therapies that are going on. And another feature of what we recommend is the ketogenic diet and low carbohydrate diet. And so that's an integral part of the regimen. It's best it can be followed by patients. But this is really, I've gotten a lot, lots of people have learned about my knowledge of this area, and they come in specifically to be seen. And then I go over what they need, and I prescribe the ivermectin through a compounding pharmacy, and according to the dosing that is most appropriate. And then here we prescribe mebendazole. And then it's not a fenbendazole, which is another popular one that's being recognized for anti-cancer action, is very similar to mebendazole, but it's not available, FDA approved in the United States. It may be available in Australia without to be prescribed. What is the situation now, Paul, for ivermectin and mebendazole, fenbendazole in Australia?
It was not that long ago that the customers, if you ordered it from India, because you wouldn't be able to get it from your doctors, because the doctors are completely closed, they've been fearful to prescribe it ever since COVID, because they specifically came after some colleagues of mine for prescribing ivermectin. Dr. Miley Trin has been run through the gauntlet and hasn't practiced now for years under lawfare tech. And one of her chief crimes was to actually save a life of a woman who had severe pulmonary, involvement with COVID. So, and I have friends who have ordered it from India Mart or online sources, and it's been seized by customs as like it's crack cocaine. So, it's a difficult situation in Australia. We're really behind the gun. I think they've eased up a bit on their seizures. They've realised that it's, we're still a little bit insane here, but it may be improving at the margin. Dr. Farid, Michael and I did a show more than 2 years ago, and I broke down the exciting monograph that Paul Marek did on cancer care. That was available on the website, and there were like 21. There were 21 things, and we talked about ketogenic diet, but lots of things: omega-3 fatty acids, green tea extract. Ivermectin was on the list, but it wasn't even that high on the list at the time of the 23 things. Yeah. And it mentioned metformin. And then I noticed the paper was published in the Journal of Orthomolecular Medicine that introduced a peer-reviewed evidence base for these approaches. Outlined a lot of the stuff already. I think that's a couple of years ago. But the evidence keeps coming, doesn't it? You wanted to show us a paper that's just come out.
Well, yeah, I do. I'd like to. I guess I've been in maybe more than 2 years. So I've right from the beginning, early period when Paul Marek and the IMA Health were putting together the guides. I had already started to use the agents, but getting the directions from Marek or from Pierre Corey. Pierre has been a big backer of this area and has had great experience. He's in Florida and has a leading edge clinic on the internet. But in any case, the paper is one that was published in the local newspaper of our town that helped us during the pandemic, the Desert Review. It's written by a friend of mine, Justice Hope, who's a doctor in California who wrote a very important general book on cancer therapy with repurposed meds about 8 or 9 years ago. So he's been in this area for a long time. And he, in this article, he summarizes what he calls a Reset 5 protocol. And so that it's simpler than this one that you mentioned, 21 different components. And that's what I was guiding many of my patients to follow. And at this stage, I think that it makes good sense to simplify it. And I'll tell you what's in this. But it's based upon also him reviewing a peer-reviewed study from the Wellness Company, where they had a 6-month study of maybe 200 patients that were just taking ivermectin and mebendazole in somewhat rather low dose, 25 milligram ivermectin and 250 milligram of mebendazole daily. And for those that they completed the 6-month period, they had 33% were in complete remission, and a variety of cancers. And 16% had definite regression in that period of time, or 36% had stable disease. So that's more than 80% were benefited significantly by just those two in that trial, which is just an observational small study, but enough to wake people up. And it's in the article from the Desert Review is called 1 in 3 cancer-free, ivermectin trial stuns, but Reset 5 aims even higher. And that's the Reset 5 is described in this article in the Desert Review by Justice Hope. If one goes to thedesertreview.com, it's that's desertreview.com and search for Justice Hope. You'll get that article. In any case, the only three, it's ivermectin, mebendazole, and that one can use that regimen dosing that the wellness company utilized in their study, or generally I follow the IMA Health guidelines, which are higher dosing of ivermectin of 0.8 to 1 milligram per kilogram per day. And then it consists of the mebendazole is generally 200 milligrams daily or 250. But the other three components are metformin, and that's a commonly used agent for diabetes, but it has a definite anti-cancer mechanism that it has a inhibitory effect on what's called complex 1 of mitochondrial electron transport. So it blocks energy formation in cancer cells. And it also targets cancer stem cells by suppressing a mechanism called mTOR signaling and reducing glucose availability. So that's very important for cancer. So metformin is one of the third agent. The fourth agent is sulforaphane. Sulforaphane comes from broccoli, and it's a nutraceutical, and it's derived from cruciform vegetables, and it adds a critical epigenetic and cancer stem cell targeting dimension. And it's stated in this article to dismantle the certain signaling mechanisms of cancer that are called WNT or hedgehog or notch signaling to pathways. So the important point is that these anti-cancer agents that are natural have actual defined mechanisms of action, just like ivermectin did for COVID or antiviral, and hydroxychloroquine did in terms of other signaling effects that affect viral replication. And so those are the four. And then the fifth agent is the, let me just get that. It's called aged garlic extract. There's a Kyolic, Kyolic, aged garlic extract. And that would be the fifth agent. And so that's what I would recommend. And that the aged garlic extract is a bioactive compound that's called S-allocysteine. And in any case, it delivers a final blow targeted redox modulation. It selectively depletes glutathione inside cancer cells. So that's all described in this recent article by Justice Hope, and it's what I'm recommending to my cancer patients.
Do you know, George? I had a chemotherapy factory in my kitchen. It was called a broccoli seed sprouter.
You do
because broccoli seed broccoli sprouts is actually a much more potent source of sulforaphane. You can't eat as much broccoli to get it in, but those sprouts are a powerhouse. And
how wonderful to know that.
Yeah, and so I've been growing my own chemotherapeutics for a few years now, and of course it's a great antioxidant as well.
Yes, exactly. So these all synergize. They don't. That's why they're used in a group, and they cause the regression of stem cells in particular, which chemo doesn't do a good job with.
Can I ask about stem cells? I thought stem cells was like a cell that can become whatever the body needs.
Oh, okay. I'm
for stem cells. How do you?
These are just the progenitor cells of the tumor. They're not this kind of stem cells you're thinking of, Michael. Yeah, those are different.
So the cancer, once the cancer gets going, it produces its own cells, so it's regenerating.
Yeah,
new cells.
no, that's what happens. The stem cells then will spread in the body and a lot of metastasis to take place. And that's what you don't want to have happen.
The problem with the stem cells, Michael, is they're like the roots of the cancer, and they're slow growing. So because they're slow growing, all the therapies that oncologists tend to use is like chemo and radiation. They target the fast growing cells. So
Yes,
they're
exactly.
great at killing the tree, if you like, and or the leaves of the weed, if you use a weed as an analogy. But the roots are still in place. So in this case, the stem cells are like the roots of the cancer. They don't get removed, and that's why it's so important that you deal with that. You know, if you were dealing with weeds, you wouldn't just take out the top and let the base of the weed stay. But that's what we're doing in modern oncology. So this stuff addresses the roots of the cancer, the stem cells.
Yes.
Just writing it down for short. Yeah. Okay, great. There's a. Can I ask you? Are you seeing a difference in cancer behavior? Because what we're hearing is people getting cancers like in their hands, places they generally cancers haven't been before. It's very aggressive. I mean, over here, we know of about 4 or 5 cases of turbo cancer. People are unvaccinated, and it's 3 of them are gone and gone in weeks.
Really? Oh. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Is this something you're seeing over there?
Yes, we are. Yes, it's we're definitely seeing increased numbers in those that were heavily vaccinated, but we're seeing it in non-vaccinated also. So many of my patients are declined the vaccines during the pandemic wisely, and they still have their cancer. But these are conventional cancers. They're
Okay.
if they're topical cancers, the ivermectin paste can be applied directly topically, which is very effective, actually.
Wow. Yeah, I interviewed a young guy who was severely injured by the vaccine. He got himself better by getting ivermectin, but he was getting it in from India, hidden in CD covers and all this.
Really?
And
Oh no,
because the
that's
government would
terrible.
take them off him. So he's actually trying to heal himself against by basically going against the government, and he's doing well.
Oh, really
But,
good. Good.
yeah, it's incredible though that he has to do that. He doesn't have the right to use whatever he feels it could help his recovery. Surely you would think that's his right, whatever he wants to do. It's his life. He can fight it any way he wants, but that's not how it goes over here.
Well, can he get fenbendazole there or mebendazole?
I don't know. I'd have to ask Paul that.
You can get it. You can order it online. Part of the problem that, and they're not tending to intercept that as aggressively, like a deadly contraband. And of course, veterinary supplies, they still use these antiparasitics in veterinary medicine. So people are still, using horse paste, I'm sure, as the most accessible, it's really sad, but that's the state of play here in Australia.
I heard of some chemists or some pet stores that were wanting evidence that you owned a horse.
That's amazing.
I'd give a picture of you. I'd say it's a miniature horse.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I think in that those individuals could benefit by using the sulforaphane and aged garlic extract and metformin, and then if they can obtain fenbendazole or through pharmacy there, the bendazole, that would be worthwhile, even if ivermectin couldn't be obtained.
One of the concerns is when you're having to order from India or my understanding is that the purity is not.
That's right.
It's not consistent. So you may think you're giving yourself a milligram per kilo of ivermectin, and you might or 200 milligrams of fenbendazole, and you're only giving half because it only has half the purity. So, and I know that because we have pharmacy colleagues who have been testing some of the pills that people get, and they're not always. And it's not a small thing. If you've got cancer, you want to make sure you're getting the full dose.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So it really is like a drug, isn't it? It's like cutting up heroin or cutting it down. I mean, this is what we're dealing with. But instead of getting you high, it's about saving your life. It's incredible.
It really is.
How do you
I think it's wonderful, though. I think it's wonderful.
Oh, you go. You
Sorry,
go.
Michael.
You're the doctor.
I think it's wonderful that for all the terrible stuff that's happened in the last 5 years and continues to happen, that we're, the cure for cancer was something, as a teenage boy, or a junior medical student, I thought, if I could be involved in understanding and the cure for cancer, I would be happy. I would be overjoyed. This would be a life's work. And yet we have literally been talking about the cure of cancer now for an effective treatment for a couple of years, and it's amazing. I think it's amazing. I said to Michael, I mentioned it to someone at the Forest of the Fallen. This is where we talk about the vaccine ninjas, and we put up pictures in the local park. And a Brazilian boy came up to me 8 weeks ago. His mum had pancreatic cancer and was stage 4. And they said, put your affairs in order. And I said, you should look up these, ivermectin and fenbendazole. And I mentioned a couple of doctors' names. And I said, look at their protocols. You've got nothing to lose, and they're safe drugs and they're cheap. And he managed to get a hold of them. And I bumped into him a few, maybe 6 weeks later on the beach here, and he said, "Oh, Dr. Paul, Mum's doing really well. People have come to say goodbye to her, and she's not only still around, but the tumors in her legs that were visible are shrinking, and the PET scan has shown marked improvement, and the doctors are baffled." So sometimes you don't need the peer-reviewed data.
Right.
When you've got so many people who have been left for dead who are improving, there must be some.
That's terrific information, Paul, and it's a wonderful story. And hope I've had many or a number like that, and that's why when I see it with my own eyes, I know it's valid, and that's why I've stayed with this, and why it's so exciting for me. And I've been in medicine for 56 years. And so it's the best thing I've come across in terms of being able to offer to people, and comes close to what you're saying. But I went into medicine hoping I could make a difference in some major area of medicine. And I can see that I've been able to learn about something that will make a big difference, or does.
And in the same way that hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin, you didn't need the papers. You could see it in your own patients.
Exactly.
You see a vast improvement in people that have been left for dead with a safe, cheap drug. It should be a lay down misere that people should be allowed should be offered this. Just like vitamin D and hydroxy and ivermectin during COVID. And the fact that it's not happening tells you we have a deeply dysfunctional health system.
You're right. It's important to keep the effort going to correct that and bring it into for the best interests of humanity. So
how do you deal with the indoctrination going on, though, Doctor? Like over here, I mean, we get attacked by doctors saying that we're kooks, don't we, Paul? Especially you. Yeah, where
especially me. No, I think especially you.
But as a doctor, there seems to be no debate. You're either like, well, they call us cookers now. It's the latest name they call us, just cookers. And yet we're just talking about saving lives. We're just trying to look for answers. We're trying to look for rational thinking. And you seem to be such a rational, calm man. How do you deal with this indoctrination that doesn't want to debate, that just wants to go, no, it's our way or the highway, and we don't care if it's paved in dead?
Yeah, that's very difficult, actually, Michael. It's something that I've accepted, and maybe that's too bad, but people are there. It's a disillusionment with what the mentality is and how that came to pass. And some of it is from payments that occur, people being bribed in a way, psychologically or intellectually or financially or all of those. And some of it is just through brainwashing that you can't get rid of. And so I don't try to battle it at all. I just try to explain what I'm doing and explain what I think is correct, and then let a debate occur and a discussion occur to see what's best to be done. So
Can
Yeah, I'm not sure you would be allowed to practice in Australia, George. I think our APRA would come and it start attacking your license. This is how hostile it is here to yeah. So
I'm so sorry to hear that. I love Australia, and I've had lots of great memories from when I was the Davis Cup team doctor for the U.S. and
yeah, that's
in
right.
the 1990s, and for years before, because of my father was a sports medicine doctor and one of the first U.S. Davis Cup team doctor in the 1970s, 80s, through the through the 80s. And we would have a lot of the Australians stay with us in our home in Los Angeles.
I see you had Rod Laver and all of those.
Yeah, Lou Hode and Ken Rosewall and
Wow.
Sedgman, all the people that I idealized.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, wow. Can I change the subject for a sec? But
Sure.
it's still about medicine. Um, what we're seeing too, we're doing stories on now, is maids in Canada. And we're getting stories of people, they go in their 80s, or they go in cancer and they're younger, and they're just offered maids, and they're actually fleeing to the United States and getting treated and getting better, where Canada seems to have gone, nah. What is your view of maids, or if you have one? You don't have to talk. You don't have to reply if you don't want to.
Mine is a negative view of that overall, and I've not had. I'm the medical director of a nursing home here, and we have patients at the end stages of life, and we don't end it though arbitrarily. So we have hospice that's offered, and then try to have dignity for the individual. But I think if that's what you're asking about, with euthanasia is not something I'm a supporter of.
Yeah, it's just seeing how quickly it's being implemented over there and here too. We just posted an interview last night of a man who had turbo cancer and euthanized himself, and his brother, who didn't take it, who was a nurse, who he blamed into the grave. He said, "Because you didn't take it, I'm dying." And so it's all this awful stuff.
Oh
But what,
gosh.
but what got me was he just got a call to say, "Look, your brother's been euthanized tomorrow at 4 o'clock." He's like, "What? What?" And it's happening here. And there's no talk of these protocols or anything. It's just like devaluing human life. Like, okay, your number's up. And to me, with all this medical stuff we have, I just don't understand how it's turning around to basically just wave bye bye. You got cancer, see you later. You know,
Right, right. I think
it's a
it
cultural
needs to be.
change. Sort of.
Yes, yeah, you're right.
Is it happening in the States as much as Canada?
I don't. No, no, not no, no. It isn't. It. Cancer is. I mean, Canada has had very repressive policies, and really disillusioned by Canada more than I am for other parts of North America.
Yeah.
I saw a post by someone the other day walking through a London tube, and on both sides of the wall were glossy professional ads for euthanasia, one after the other after the
really?
other.
My gosh.
And I thought to myself, by the time you get to the tram, you'll be ready to throw yourself under it.
Yeah, exactly.
And she was pointing out that they all had the word global, and she'd done some research about who was behind, who was pushing this.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not the mere fact that they're offering euthanasia, but that places like Canada, they're actually, and in the UK, that there is active campaigns to promote it, and I worry about that there may be a link with organ, because I saw an article where they said that people could be mated, euthanized, and then there was a quick way to whisk off the body to preserve the organs for harvest.
Oh, wow.
So I think it starts to get quite sinister. But Michael's point is well taken, that the value of life is being degraded, and I see this as part of a greater attack on humanity.
I would agree.
That's the beauty of you, Doctor, because you're keeping people alive for dignity. Where we did a story of a young girl in Spain who'd anyway, she's only 24, but they allowed her to euthanize herself, and there's others going on now, non-life terminal illnesses and the autoimmune diseases and stuff, and they're allowed maids and they're young. And we don't know if it's true, but the documentation coming through was that their organs are worth almost $8 million. I don't know if that's true, but you're sort of seeing that this is becoming a business. And I think it's terrifying because surely, fundamentally, this is the planet of human beings. And to be alive as a human being is a great gift from the gods or whatever it is. We find out when we get to the end. But it's a great gift, and this seems to be, well, it seems to be evil, and yet it's the banality of evil where it's becoming the norm. We saw a taxi. I got sent a picture of a taxi in Adelaide, which is a city in Australia, and on the top it said, "Ask your doctor about medically assisted euthanasia."
Oh,
and you think it's on a taxi. You think, no.
Yeah.
It used to be.
I just need a note for a sick day.
It used to be Viagra. It used to
Yeah.
be Viagra, and now it's
That's right.
euthanasia.
Gosh.
Yeah, will both make you stiff, I guess. But there's so you go from there. But it's and yet when I was in hospital, I had a triple bypass last year. When I was in hospital, the doctors and the nurses and the cleaners, everyone were brilliant. I all felt like they were in the trench between life and death, and they were fighting. I was in the cardiology ward. I found that they weren't a part of it. They were really into saving lives. And so is it up here? Is it like a business model or something that something higher up is controlling? I don't understand it, because I just can't believe we're making it socially acceptable for someone to say, oh, okay, you've got this. Life's going to be pretty hard. Why don't you do something good for this team? Save the state all this health money we're going to spend on keeping you alive, and almost making it like, good on you for leaving us.
Yes,
I just find it abhorrent.
Yes, me too. I share that with you. Michael and Paul, I'm afraid I have to go in a short while. I hate to interrupt you. This great discussion. It's so nice to see you all both directly again, and I'd like to have a follow-up with you discussion in 3 or 6 months, if that's possible.
Yeah, let us know. Yeah.
Okay.
If we're still around, if we can afford the fuel, we're here.
Okay. Well, you both are great, and I'm so happy to be able to update you on my interests right now.
Yeah, no problem. I'll share the hell out of this. Thank you.
Awesome.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
We'll put up the links, and we'll try and find that paper in the Desert Review so people can see.
Good.
See what's
Yes.
going on. It is very exciting for all the doom and gloom we're talking about. I think this is one of the best feel good stories.
Very much so. Yes, very much so. And and it's just there's a whole field of repurposed meds that for various conditions that have been hidden from us because they can't be patented any longer, and
Can't
that's
make money.
bad.
Yeah.
Yes.
Take care, Doctor. God bless. You're
Okay.
amazing.
God bless you both. Thank you so much. Have a great
Bye-bye.
day.
Wow, what a treat, huh?
Yeah, it was a treat. I think one of the comments said, "Oh, this is a treat," and it is.
Yeah, all this
Dr.
is
Freed.
like a gorilla thing. I called up Paul and said, "Oh, we've got Dr. Freed coming on. Maybe I don't know what time." And suddenly I'm going, "He's there." I'm going, "Paul, get in." Paul's like, "I gotta get dressed." And your universe is full of people walking back and forth today.
Yeah, I've got Grandpa Jim from the US actually staying with me. So
Yeah, great. I saw him.
So you can see Grandpa Jim in the background with.
And he's from Southern California. That's where he's from. Amazing guy. Anyway, we'll get this up today, and we're back tonight with Mark, and it's going to be it's got a love in a time of COVID, so we're going to have a really uplifting show this evening. So be prepared for that. It should be great. Paul, I'll let you get back to your family. I'm going to go out with a song, and then we'll share the hell out of this. And what a treat that was. What a treat that was. What should I go? I don't know. I'm just going with the lucky country. Okay. Take care. See you, Paul. Bye.
When I met Jesus Christ, he was almost 10 years old, and he was helping his mother push a trolley full of all they owned. And because they couldn't find an inn they could get in, they were heading to the city and leaving Bethlehem. Couldn't you perform a miracle? I'm out of them, he said. I tried turning nothing into warmth, but it just made my mother cry. It just made my mother cry. Mary Magdalene has become a man, and tonight he's old, and she has been riding my tram. Now it's late and she's trying to sleep beneath a poster for a bank. Your dreams are important to us as it bathes her face in gold. Come give us your natural gifts. We make wealth from toil. Come pretend for history's page that we're advancing Australia fair. Let's pretend that we're all advancing Australia fair. Back down the road I found the church we built on the black man's bones was empty, and out the front a sign read all but sold. A sign read all but sold. And we all owe so much money, but to whom we're not quite sure. So head down